Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to be continuing on with our HTML tutorial series, and in this tutorial we are going to be covering some more input elements. We're going to be covering the email type input, the hidden type input. We're also going to be covering the file input. And we're going to be covering the image input. So I guess first off, we're going to talk about the hidden input, because there's really nothing to show with it other than a code example. The hidden input is essentially, as the type name implies, it's hidden. You cannot see it. Most developers will use this input field that's hidden for additional information in the request. So, for example, let's say you are using the same page for adding and inputting, for adding and inputting new data as well as editing it. So you have two different functionalities in the same form, but you want the server to process those requests differently, which obviously you do. That's where a hidden input field would come in, where it would have a value set for edit or create or something like that to give the server more context as to what the functionality of the form is supposed to be in that specific request. So how do you actually type up this input hidden? Well, you do the input element just like we have been so far. So less than input type equals hidden. And we will then have a name. This name, let's say hidden dash stuff. And that's it. That's all you need. With hidden inputs, you don't need to label them, because the thing about hidden fields is they're hidden regardless. So even a screen reader won't be able to focus on it. So there's no point in giving a hidden field a label. We will be using hidden fields a lot when we cover JSP. So make sure you keep that in mind. Next thing that we're going to take a look at is the file input. This will allow you to select a file from your computer and then upload it to whatever server your form submits to, and you can store that data on that server and then store the path to that file to a database and all that stuff. That's generally what this is used for. There's many instances of the file input on social media or on Canvas, for example, for college students and all that stuff. So how exactly do we use this then? Well, you do the input element like we have been for the past many elements. And inside the type attribute, we do file. This is going to need a name. And this will say file-input. Now, we also need a label. So after the type, we're going to have an ID of file-input-field. And then we need to have the actual label element for file-input- field, and we're gonna say the label is gonna be submit your resume. And so now that we have that, go ahead and save your code, go back to the browser and refresh. Now you can see we have a label on the screen that says submit your resume, and then right next to it we have an input that says choose file, as well as no file selected, because we don't have a file selected right now. The choose file is a button that conjures up a open file dialog, which is really neat. This input element, I want to stress this, does not support selecting directories. At least not yet. I believe they're working on it, but I do not believe it supports directories right now. So that is the file input. You'll also find the file input for uploading profile pictures to things like social media. So they're important to understand how they work and how to process the request coming in when you submit a form that has a file input. Okay. So next thing that we're going to take a look at is the email type of input. Now, what you'll notice on the surface of this particular element is that it's no different than the input type text. And the reason for that is because the email type specifically allows for mobile devices to change the type of keyboard that they use to be better suited for inputting an email address, so you don't have to do as many button presses to get to the @ symbol, get to a period and type .com, .net, .edu, whatever, and it'll just make it a little bit easier on you as a user. So we go and put the input type email on the page the same way we do any other input element. So less input type equals email, ID equals email dash field, name equals email, like that. Have a label for email dash field. Enter your email for the label and reload your page. So now you can see we have enter your email as a label, and then we have a text field for email addresses. Now, the other nice thing about email address fields is they can, depending on your browser and your privacy settings, allow you to autofill emails into the fields, which is really, really cool. All right. So that is that's the email input. Okay, and so now with that, we have one more thing to cover in this video, and that is the image type input. So we're going to have a label for img inputs, and we're going to say select an image, and we'll say less than input type equals image, and we'll have an ID for called img inputs and name of image and have a name for image dash input, like that. And so now when we save this code and run it in the browser, you can see now we can press this button and so you can see what this is going to do. So what you're going to do then at that point, so you can kind of see what this is doing here then. This is basically the image input. It's not exactly complicated, and I don't particularly use this input. And frankly, I haven't even seen a whole lot of people use it, but I wanted to include it because I wanted it to be a little bit more comprehensive than most people would be otherwise. So we can simply just move on from that because it's not very commonly used. Just know it's there. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we will see you all in the next video.